everyone, hope you're well. I'm Naomi Griffiths, a criminologist. I started this channel because I'm also a part-time lecturer, and I felt that the students have a difficult time to actually bring the concepts in criminology to actual case studies. So we will be looking at some case studies and also then applying some criminological theories and concepts to these cases. If you like my videos and you find it helpful in any way, please like and subscribe. Today we'll be dealing with the Moses Sithole case. He was one of the most well-known serial killers in South Africa, also known as the ABC Killer. He operated in the Atteridgeville, Boksburg and Cleveland areas in the Gauteng province in South Africa, hence the name the ABC Killer. During 1994 and 1995, he killed 37 women and 1 toddler. Moses, however, stated that there were 76 victims, but that could never be confirmed. In this video, we'll be dealing with concepts like behavioral linkage analysis and try to relate that to the Moses Sithole case. This is more than just the facts. As a criminologist, I deal with behavioral linkage analysis in serial cases. Simply put, behavioral linkage analysis is when a criminologist aims to find links in certain cases by looking at, for example, victimology, the geographical locations, and the manner in which the offender committed the crimes, also known as the modus operandi. Some of you might have heard about the term profiling. However, behavioral linkage analysis is different from profiling in that in behavioral linkage analysis we do not aim to profile a certain offender. We would rather look at consistencies and patterns in the behavior of an offender. Moses Sithole was born in 1964 in Vosloorus, a township near Boksburg in Gauteng province in South Africa. He was one of 5 children. At the age of 5, his father unfortunately passed away and the mother abandoned the household, leaving him and his siblings orphaned. Moses spent the next 3 years in the orphanage, whereafter he ran away due to alleged abuse. He first sought refuge from his brother and then went to work in the Johannesburg coal mines. Moses was arrested for rape in his teens, and he spent 7 years in prison for that offense. Moses himself admitted that this was actually what triggered his hate and resentment against women, because he believed the women falsely accused him of rape. When Moses was released from prison, he managed a shell organization called Youth Against Human Abuse. It was this shell organization that he used to obtain his victims. He invited them for interviews, whereafter he would take them to an open veld that was desolate. He would then beat them, rape them, and strangle them. Moses often used the victims' own underwear to strangle them. This, in the criminological field, is called signature behavior. We often see serial killers or serial offenders using signature behavior. A very well-known example of an American serial killer who had a specific signature was the BTK killer. He used to bind, torture, and kill his victims, hence the name the BTK. When conducting a behavioral linkage analysis on the Moses Sithole case, several consistencies was already evident from the beginning. Throughout the series, the victimology mostly remained constant. He targeted young African women in their teens and 20s. When we looked at the geographical locations in which the crimes were committed, we could see there's 3 distinct places: Atteridgeville, then he moved to Boksburg, and then Cleveland. We use the term called geographical profiling in order to see if we can locate a possible area where he lives or works, because of the fact that serial killers or serial offenders often commit the crimes near the places they work or live. In South Africa, it's even more so, due to the fact that a lot of people don't have access to vehicles or transport. Moses also used a very specific modus operandi by recruiting the victims through the interviews, then taking them to desolate or remote locations, beating them, raping them, and finally strangling them. And he used a very specific signature by using their own underwear. This was all constants in his modus operandi or his behavior, which in effect also greatly assisted the investigation, as well as identifying a serial killer was operating in certain areas. During October 1995, Moses contacted South African journalist Tamsin de Beer. He He identified himself as the killer and stated that he committed the crimes due to revenge due to the unjust imprisonment for the rape case that he said he never committed. Shockingly, Moses also stated that there was up to 76 victims and not just the 38 the police have identified. In order to prove his identity, he gave the locations of one of the bodies that the police haven't found yet. On 6 November 1995, Moses was arrested. During the arrest, he was shot and wounded. He received an effective imprisonment sentence of 2,410 years. He is currently serving a sentence in the Mangaung Correctional Facility in Bloemfontein within the Free State Province. This correctional facility received a lot of criticism recently due to this guy. Let's quickly recap on the criminological terms we explored today. Firstly, behavioral linkage analysis, which refers to a systematic process of identifying and evaluating patterns or similarities in behaviors exhibited across multiple crime scenes or incidents to determine whether they were committed by the same offender. Number 2, profiling, which refers to the systematic process of analyzing and identifying patterns, characteristics, or behaviors of individuals or groups to create a detailed description or assessment. In criminology, it often involves examining evidence, psychological traits, and demographic information to predict or understand the actions of the criminal. Then we also looked at modus operandi, which is a Latin term which means method of operating. In criminology, it refers to the specific techniques, strategies, or method that an offender consistently employs when committing a crime. We also looked at geographical profiling, which is a method used in criminology and investigative psychology to analyze the locations of a series of connected crimes in order to identify patterns and make inferences about the likely base or location of an offender. We also looked at the term victimology, which is the scientific study of victims of crime, focusing on their experiences, characteristics, and the psychological, social, and legal impacts of victimization. It further explores the relationships between victims and offenders. Finally, we explored signature, which refers to a unique personal aspect of a crime that reflects the offender's psychological and emotional needs. Unlike the modus operandi, which focuses on the practical methods used to commit the crime, the signature is not necessary for the crime's success. Instead, it represents actions, behaviors, or rituals that satisfy an internal psychological drive or compulsion of the offender. Next time, we'll be looking at some of the theoretical explanations for Moses' behavior. We'll delve a little bit deeper into theories, and I'll explain the relevance of theories in criminology. I really hope you enjoyed today's video and that you learned something in the process, and that some criminological concepts makes a bit more sense now. This is Naomi Griffiths with More Than Just Facts. Until next time, stay safe and stay sharp.